What is going on today, guys? Welcome back. I know it has been a little while since we've had a video. I apologize. So we have just had a lot of what I would consider life stuff going on, a lot of work related stuff that had to be taken care of. Couldn't really get over here this weekend. Just been very busy with kind of just family plans, parties, events, birthdays, stuff like that. Had a bunch of those this weekend. Didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to get over here for an extended period of time. Now I was over here, a couple hours here, a couple hours there, but not really enough to kind of throw together a whole entire video. So we're gonna go over some of that stuff, what's been going on, give you guys kind of a general update on everything, starting with the 05 here. So you guys know we left off with the 05 back down at our Man-Mall Dunes. Transmission case was pretty much blown apart. Thanks to a couple of you guys, we have found some good units to rebuild. They are already there. The last pieces that we are waiting on, actually the day that we left, John actually sent off our converter and our valve body to Suncoast. So I'm assuming early this week they will have them. We're gonna cut open the converter, check out all that stuff, because I know there was, there was debris that went through pretty much everything. We wanna make sure when we put it back together, we don't have any issues. So once we get the converter and the valve body back from Suncoast, we will be good to go. Then we can go ahead and get the transmission completely rebuilt. I don't really have an exact time frame on that, but hopefully as soon as possible. So as you can see, maybe out there, we've got the hood open and the door open on the dually. We're gonna get to that here in a second. Also, because we have dinner plans tonight for another birthday, we don't have a ton of time, so we are gonna be focusing on the first gen. We've gotten a couple other things done within the last couple days on the first gen here, which I will go over quickly. We got the oil filter housing and the cooler back in there, got new gaskets on all of that stuff, filled this thing up with oil, but that took a little while to try and scrape and clean off 20, 30-year-old gaskets. Took quite a while. We were using our good friend here, Mr. Wizzy Wheel, but got that done. That is all complete. We ended up having to take off the alternator and the coolant hose over here, belt tensioner. We'll put all that stuff back on. Not really quite sure what else I did or did not tell you guys last time. Turns out by the time we ran all of our fuel lines, all of our number 10, number 8 stuff, that kind of ate into all of the fittings that I had. So I don't know, I have new fittings ordered, but the plan is if I can get just a drain and a feed setup on this charger and button up some of the fuel related stuff, this thing is pretty much almost ready to fire. So I don't want to say that's going to happen today. We might be very close, but we're going to focus on this thing and try and button up all the loose ends. This thing at this point is just a bunch of loose ends, which kind of makes it really difficult to kind of give you guys some like, hey, today we're installing the P-pump. It's just kind of all loose ends, which is kind of all over the place. So laying here on the ground is the cable that we picked up, little black nylon coated cable. Look at this. The shop has just been getting terribly disorganized. We need to do that today too, just from trying to get things done, leave, go home, be with Reagan, stuff like that. But here is our cable that we're going to use. So we do have to kind of like trim that up, get that attached to our shutoff. So we have a shutoff on this thing, so we can go ahead and do that. The bed can pretty much go back on. Like I said, just a lot of loose ends. So let's go out here to the dually. Let me show you guys what we're doing with that. This is really just behind the scenes kind of preparation for another video that's going to be like the main point of why we are doing this, but I'll let you guys in on kind of that stuff now. So what we did is, and this is one of you guys sent us this stuff, and I cannot remember. I apologize. I didn't write the name down on the bag, but we have a temporary fuel pressure gauge on our Black Market Performance filter head assembly. What we're going to be looking at is our factory lift pump pressure. So really just a very temporary gauge. We're going to run that into the cab here. You can see we have a 40-pound fuel pressure gauge. We're going to go ahead. Let's fire up the truck right now. I'll show you guys what it's reading factory here. But what we're going to be doing is taking a look at factory lift pump pressure, see how far it will drop or won't drop. Looks like right now we are at about 12-ish PSI of lift pump pressure on your factory lift pump. Moving around a little bit, show you guys it is working. So we're actually gonna go drive this real quick right now, and then we're gonna come back and focus on the first gen. This, like I said, is in preparation for the fuel system that we're gonna be putting on this thing. Alrighty guys, we are all set. We're in the dually now. We are gonna take our quick trip to 1, monitor our lift pump pressure, and 2, grab a NPT adapter for the oil pressure gauge on the first gen to make sure we have oil pressure when we fire that thing up. So I'm gonna run out, grab that, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and take a look at our factory lift pump pressure here. Nicely installed, by the way. Nice zip tie mount. If you guys want, I'll you know, try and get these made up for you guys. They're pretty nice, but will help us see this a little bit better as we're driving. Pretty interested to see. I'm not really sure about you guys, but I know on any of my trucks before I've put aftermarket lift pumps on them, I've never monitored factory lift pump pressure. So gonna be pretty interesting to see how far this thing drops. We're on tune 3. Maybe we'll spice it up, put it on tune 5, and see how low this thing drops. But gonna be interesting data for our lift pump video coming up very soon. Like I said, we do have a fuel system for this. Probably gonna be tomorrow's video, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's get on the road, see what this thing does. All right, so what I've been noticing right off the bat is that normal idling driving conditions, we're hovering right around 12 PSI. I apologize, I'm gonna try and make this as smooth as possible here. Merging on the highway right now. Under, you know, somewhat light throttle. It's starting to go right around 10 PSI without really getting into it. We got a kind of a big hill coming up here. We're gonna try and accelerate through that, probably about half, 3/4 throttle, and see how far it goes down. All right, so we're accelerating up this hill. Not really anything crazy. Yeah, we're already, wow. So that was at least 7 or 8 PSI going up this hill. Nothing, like I said, I'm not going crazy. Alrighty, NPT bushing acquired. So we are good to go with that. So we're getting back on the road. We are gonna do a full throttle pass here, merging on the highway to go back home. What I've been noticing just in this little quick trip is this thing will go down to 10 pretty easily under light throttle, and the little bit of accelerating that I've done, it definitely goes to 8 pretty quickly after that. So really not set on kill yet, if I even really need to prove my point that this thing I can see dropping to probably 6-ish, maybe 5, I don't know, pretty easily with some, you know, tuning, not even really loaded down, really working this thing. So let's see what this full throttle pass does. You're gonna try and hold the camera as steady as possible here. Oh, wow! Okay, as soon as I'm on tune 4, as soon as it dropped down to 2, I let off, because I was like, wow, okay, that's like 2 PSI. Look at that. Got another fellow Cummins owner. We're on tune 4. Maybe I will try and do that again in case you missed it. Got another open stretch here. We're gonna put it right to the wood. Okay, well, I think that answers that question. Well, guys, I'm pretty sure that the point I was trying to prove was pretty evident in those last couple pulls. Dropped down to 2-ish PSI from what I can see without reviewing the footage. So whole point trying to get across, I think the optimal fuel pressure for these things is about 14 to 17, I want to say. I can't remember exactly, but it's definitely not 2 PSI, I can guarantee that. Actually making me feel a little like cringy with all of the towing that we've done. A lot of that downshift under 3/4, not full throttle, but with the big race trailer. I can guarantee you my truck has seen 2-ish PSI for an extended period of time without monitoring it, what exactly it was doing. So to say the least, I am pretty excited about the lift pump setup that we're going to be running on this thing. We're not going to get into that today. This is just really behind the scenes to prove the point that your truck could probably definitely 100% use a lift pump one way, shape, or the other. So we're going to get to that later. We're going to get our butts inside and start just knocking out all those loose ends on the first gen. So okay, I'm going to unplug all this wiring mess that we have, go inside. Alrighty guys, much time later. We'll go with the 2 hours later SpongeBob thing here. But we were trying to work our way from the back to the front. We were making really good progress. Put some fuel in the truck, got everything situated with the sump and the sender all tightened. All the fuel lines are tight. Just like I said, miscellaneous things. Everything was going well. Working our way forward underneath here with the air dogs. Let me scoot over there on the other side. Underneath, we had gotten everything tidied up, got the electrical connection all tightened up, all the fuel lines tightened up. As you can see, we have a temporary hose because we ran into some issues. All of the fuel lines, everything minus like a couple zip ties, everything was good underneath here. We were pretty much ready to get this thing starting to get ready to fire up. So we hooked up the battery cables, got some power to this thing, started to look at the fuel pressure, got the fuel pump running. Basically what was happening, I was getting no fuel pressure. So I've been going back and forth, disconnecting stuff, looking at different things. Long story short, I think I'm gonna have to make some phone calls probably tomorrow, but I think this regulator, not sure if it's bad, good. It seems like I took that off and I have plenty of fuel after that, but the hose going to the engine after here was literally getting no fuel. I took it off and I was playing with the adjustment screw here, which should, really change the way the motor sounds, increase pressure, decrease pressure. I was getting nothing like that. So I took it off, kind of did a little shake test, put it on the ground there, put it back on. Then I was able to get 10 PSI out of it. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just set too low. Started again messing with the set screw. No adjustment change, whatever, with the motor, anything. So I'm like, I wonder if this thing is just, I don't know, stuck. I've never messed with one of these things. I'm sure it comes apart. We'll have to take a look at that further down the road. But I changed the fitting out, ran a hose just so I could make sure we were getting fuel. When I do kick it on now, you can see this would be the feed to the engine. That will pump plenty of fuel, trust me. But other than that, I'm not sure if that's the reason why the way it was hooked up before, I couldn't adjust the pressure. I'm not really sure, guys. But if we would have had our fuel pressure situation all set, I was gonna leave that set at, the 60 PSI or whatever we needed. After that, I was gonna then move over to the oil feed and drain, because besides that, this thing's pretty much ready to fire up. This thing can fire up. So unfortunately, time is not on our side. We are already late for dinner. Definitely late for dinner. So unfortunately, I apologize, guys. We're now in a little bit of a rush. We'll get the problem sorted out like we always do. Definitely want to try and get a little bit further this evening, but Project 12 Valve, once again, is fighting me every single step of the way, but it will cooperate one of these days. But that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get back into the swing of things. Make sure you guys stay tuned for tomorrow's video on the fuel system on the dually. That is going to be an awesome, it's one of the biggest, maybe not the fuel system, but the thing that's going along with the fuel system is probably one of my most anticipated modifications for that truck. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Love you guys. Hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. Hopefully Allie's not too mad about the delayed dinner plans, and I will see you guys tomorrow. See you.